Hey everyone, I'm Josh, and this is Tech Answers. In today's video, I wanted to see how inexpensive I could build a really nice 1080p machine. It ended up being a Dell Optiplex 3010 with an i5 3470 and a GTX 1050 Ti. Let's take a look at the benchmarks and see what it ended up coming up with. And while we gaze at the majesty that is the mustard and ketchup coloring of the inside of the Dell case, I would like to take this moment and listen to the mechanical hard drive sing us the song of its people. The system specs for the Dell Optiplex 3010 is an i5 3470, whatever motherboard came in it, 8 gigabytes of what I'm guessing is 1333 megahertz RAM, 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive, because, well, that's what came in it, stock power supply, and a very super stock CPU cooler. Really doesn't take much to keep the locked CPUs cool. The test bench that I will be pitting this Dell up against is my test bench with an i5 6600K, with a 4.5 gigahertz overclock, which has the Asus Sabertooth Z170S, 16 gig Crucial Ballistic Sport DDR4, 240 gig Corsair Force LE, that's new, EVGA Supernova 750G2, and a Corsair H80. Both systems running Windows 10 Professional, and both using the GTX 1050 Ti. First up on the chopping block, Firestrike. The Dell system with the i5 3470 scored a 7438, and the i5 6600K system scored a 7660. Physics score, this is where the difference in the CPUs really shows. The Dell did 5798, and the 6600K coming in at 9833. Combined score for the Dell is a 2644, and for the test bench was a 2703. In Time Spy, the Dell did 2242, and the 6600K did 2266, with a physics score of 2643 on the Dell and a 4365 on the test bench. Alright, for all the games, I have the slides formatted a little differently with min, max, and average, because I felt it gives you a better idea of how CPU and the rest of the system can affect your frame rates, minimum and maximums. Well, for Crysis 3, the Dell did a 45 FPS minimum, a maximum of 96, and an average of 73.5. The 6600K system had a minimum of 52, a max of 99, and an average of 76.69. I'm just going to clue you in on something real quick. You'll notice that there really is not much difference in any of these titles on games that are not bound to the CPU. If they're bound to the graphics card, everything is pretty much the same, and that's pretty much how the rest of this is going to go. On Overwatch, the Dell had a minimum of 55, a maximum of 137, and an average of 90.75, with the 6600K system coming in at a minimum of 60, a max lower at 128, but an average just a touch higher at 93. Again, most of this is margin of error stuff. It could have been something as simple how the game handled when I died. Numerous times that I died. Anyways, could make the max spike like that. The Dell on Doom inside was a 46 minimum, a 95 max, and a 65.25 average. The 6600K system did 47 minimum, 95 max, and an average of 65.71. This game was very much bound by the GPU. Doom Outside was much of the same story with a 55 minimum, 99 max, and 75.24 average on the Dell system, and the 6600K system having a minimum of 60, a max of 101, and an average of 77.6. I have a feeling dealing with the environments outside might have pulled the Dell down just a little bit. Next is the game that I shouldn't even have included just out of anger. The Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I've been having issues getting this game to run right. I know a lot of people have. I also know the game is limited to 91 FPS, which is a freaking joke. But anyways, the test is here nonetheless. So the Dell did 62 a minimum, max of 92, average of 82.65, and the i5 6600K test bench with a minimum of 67, max of 92, yet again, and an average of, surprise, surprise, 82.39. I was frustrated with that game. And now on to the slide that looks like it was made by NVIDIA's marketing department. My guess is, as y'all can tell, I'm new to this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So all my slides are made in PowerPoint. Yes, they're made in PowerPoint. So when I put in these two numbers, because they are so close, this is how PowerPoint handled it and turned the slide. So my guess is NVIDIA uses PowerPoint. You're going to charge $1,200 for a GPU, and you're not going to have your slides right. Anyways, in Rise of the Tomb Raider, the Dell did 55.5, and the test bench did 56. Literally no difference. Again, definitely the most GPU bound out of all the titles that I tested. And now on to a title that is very obviously CPU bound. Grand Theft Auto 5 is known for being CPU dependent, as you can see here with the Dell system with a 44 FPS minimum, an oddly high max of 171, and an average of 77.27, where the test bench with the 6600K had a minimum of 78, a maximum of 144, and an average of 109. That is a CPU-bound game. And that, my friends, is what it takes to game at 1080p with AAA titles. Very few games, unless they are CPU bound, you're really not going to get held back a lot. And you really don't need, most folks don't need to spend as much money as they think they do. If all you're doing is gaming and surfing the internet, you can get away with a lot less than you think you need. And for proof that you can get these PCs for this cheap, here's the eBay ad for one that I found with a 3470, a 4 gig of RAM, which is why I had to add more RAM into it, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and Windows 10 Pro for $169. So you actually might be able to get it for a little cheaper. Alright folks, there you have it. Goes to show you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a good 1080p experience. You can do it with, well, $320. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think about this video in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Have a wonderful holiday.